Good morning everybody and welcome to WildEarth this morning. I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world. Unfortunately it's that little bit chilly here in Juma, but it's still offering you a warm welcome on board this morning. My name's Tara and unfortunately the plans have slightly changed. I'm not going to be taking the drive for you this morning. We do have a new presenter trying out. His name is Brent, so he's going to be taking you around Juma on this very windy morning, so I'm hoping you're going to see plenty of things. He sounds like a really interesting guy. I think you guys are going to enjoy him, so do make sure you send your questions through to questions@wildearth.tv and #Safari Live. On camera this morning we have Andrew, and back in front of control we do have the Thumb as always, along with Brian. So do enjoy your drive guys. Thank you so much for all your wishes, your well wishes. And I am going to be heading back today to my research, but if you would still like to follow me, I'm still going to be on Twitter and Facebook, and it has been absolutely wonderful having you guys on board for 2 weeks. I've been so thrilled at what we've seen and all the time that we've spent together, and obviously all your questions, and it's just been wonderful. So thank you very much. If there is an opportunity to come back, I will be certain to try and come back and come and join you again. But I'm going to be saying goodbye. Take care everybody and enjoy. Brent, over to you. Good luck.
Morning everyone. Welcome to, as Tara said, a very windy and chilly Juma private game reserve this morning. Hopefully we will be able to find some animals. So what we're going to do shortly is try head down towards the dam, see if we can find any tracks. Other than that, we will just see what we can find. So guys, I am not that familiar with Juma. I did work in the Sabi Sand, but further to the south. So hopefully you'll bear with me while I learn the roads. Hopefully we don't get too lost. Some buffalo overnight. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of cloud cover this morning, and lots of wind, so a lot of your prey species are going to be a bit jumpy in the wind, but they like the wind about as much as we do, because it makes it quite difficult for us to find things. But if you're a lion or a leopard, wind is your friend. It gives you a chance to approach much more easily up to animals, making hunting a little bit easier. And last night was a very, very dark night, with very, very strong winds, so I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of happy leopards who would have caught some supper. So we're approaching up to the dam now, to have a quick look if anything's around there. Unfortunately, no tracks yet. swirl. There's something in the water there. Possibly could be the hippo from yesterday. Just saw a swirl. Let's see if he comes up. So can you go again with the name? Hello, Beast fan. I was born in South Africa. Oh, sorry, Beast fan would like to know a little bit about me and where I'm from. I was born in South Africa, and I've had a very, very privileged upbringing that I've pretty much spent the most of my life living in the bush, in safari lodges. So for my younger years, I grew up in a reserve in northern Zululand. And just before my teenage years, we moved up to northern Botswana, and my family had safari lodges in the Okavango Delta. So we were there for 10 years, and then after that I've lived and worked in Tanzania, Zambia, Namibia, and most recently I spent a year in the rainforests of Central Africa in a country called Gabon. I'm pretty sure there's a hippo. Okay. So for those looking to follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, my Twitter is at Brent, B-R-E-N-T, Leo Smith, L-E-O-S-M-I-T-H. And then on Facebook it's exactly the same, except there's a hyphen between the L-E-O and the Smith. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to actually turn around, and hopefully the hippo might pop up once we come back down the dam wall in the other direction. So I think we're going to try head up towards some open areas to the west of us. Morning, MS. My favorite animal is the African wild dog. There's a couple of reasons for this. For me, it's by far the most exciting animal to watch hunt. And unlike lions and leopards that sleep most of the time, they're very, very active. So there's almost always something going on. And in certain areas, wild dog have a hunting success rate of around 80%, which makes them very, very exciting to follow. Also, they have probably one of the more complex social structures for predators, and they're one of the only animals outside human beings where the young are actually higher on the social hierarchy, where the whole pack is developed to look after the youngest members of the pack, which is very similar to human society, how we always put a lot of emphasis on our children and on babies being the most important thing, the way we look after them. Wild dogs do very similar, and one of the only animals that will sacrifice themselves for their youngsters. Unlike a lioness or even a leopard, if they feel they're under big pressure from another predator that's attacking them and their cubs are there, they will defend to a certain point before moving out and letting their youngsters die on the theory that they can always breed again. Whereas wild dog will really, really fight towards a bitter end for their babies. Not being a very cooperative hippo. There's a nice little lapwing on the edge of the dam. And some Egyptian geese. And we've got some barn swallows hawking over the water. Okay guys, there's a Franklin alarm calling on the edge of this drainage line. We're just going to go have a quick look to whether there might be something slightly more interesting. But it could also just be a mongoose or a bird of prey that it's alarming at. So the alarm calling is happening down in this drainage line here. We can't really see from here what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit tight for 5 to see if anything comes out. We're going to try to get another view of that area, maybe just from the other side of the drainage. But the Franklin is very upset with something. So unfortunately we don't get much of a better view from here, so what we're going to do is go back to that position we're in on top of the dam wall. It's not an easy place to get a vehicle in, so I think we're going to have to use a bit of patience to see if there is anything more interesting, like a large predator or cat in that drainage line where the Franklins are alarm calling. So when you're out in the bush, it's always worth checking every little alarm call. I mean, found leopard before from the tiniest little wax balls alarm calling in a tree. So you never know what the animals, or you'll never find animals if you don't listen to what the other animals are telling you.
Franklin was doing this yesterday as well.
So, and Tara thought that there was a leopard in the area yesterday evening. So, I mean, it's quite possible that there is. I mean, this is ideal leopard habitat. nice drainage line, there's good cover, nice trees, so if it does get hot there's plenty of shade. Also quite a lot of protection from if other predators are around. It's getting even more excited now, so whatever it's seen might be coming closer. But the problem with Franklin alarm calling is that it literally could be a snake, it could be mongoose, it could be a bird of prey, it could be one of the other smaller carnivores. I don't know if you guys can pick up that wind, but it's really strong this morning. So if something like a leopard didn't catch anything last night, with a strong gusting wind like this, it's a really good opportunity for it to hunt, or him to hunt during the day. See, now you can hear there's some other birds alarm calling. It sounds like possibly magpie shrikes, which are unlikely. I mean, they do sometimes alarm at animals like leopards, but it is unlikely. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to carry on now. Maybe we'll come back a little bit later to check the area. So guys, as I said, this is my first drive, so unfortunately sometimes you're going to see me looking at my map so we don't get lost. Don't think. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to do a little just last gasp check down the edge of this drainage line, see if we can see in. If not, we're going to head up towards quarantine, see if there's some general game out on the open area. There's some morning, Valerie from Pennsylvania. Strangely enough, wild dogs work on a very system where only the alpha pair generally breeds, although there have been times where it's been recorded where beta females breed, but generally when that happens, the alpha pair will kill them. But they do not nurse other dogs' pups. So basically only the alpha pair in wild dogs will breed. Well, there's been lots of little animals down the road last night, but unfortunately none of the ones we're looking for at the moment. There's some civet tracks and some jennet tracks, and it looks like an Ellie bull also walked down here last night. Franklin's still going, but just not as loud now. Morning, Wendy from St. Petersburg. My bracelets, some of them do have meaning. They are from all different parts of Africa. Quite a few are from Zambia, some from Tanzania, and this little bearded one here is actually from the Endangered Wildlife Trust, and those are sold to raise money for wild dogs. Morning, Sherry from Ohio. That's actually a very interesting question. It completely depends. You must understand that you're always going to get a better sighting from a vehicle-based safari, because vehicles have only been around for just over 100 years, and animals do not have an instinctive reaction to a vehicle. So if you drive carefully and respectfully around them, you tend to be able to get much closer. While you're on foot, we are the dominant daytime predator. So most animals react to us like they would react to a lion or a leopard and another predator coming into their space. So they would generally run away. Although there is something very special about being able to sort of touch the earth in Africa and get really close and look at the smaller things, the flowers, the grasses. So to answer your question, I would say I really prefer both, and each has its place in an African safari. So for those interested in following up at the hyena den from where Tara was last night, we are going to make our way there a little bit later this morning. With it being quite windy and cold, the likelihood of them being out this early is less likely. So we'll give them a bit of chance to warm up. And also, if the mothers have been away foraging and hunting during the night, we're going to give them a chance to come back from their nightly activities, and then we'll have a better chance of seeing interaction between the mothers and the cubs. Oh, there's something interesting. Just excuse me for a sec, guys. I'm just going to jump off the car. I'm going to grab quite an interesting flower. Earpiece back in quickly. So like with quite a lot of things in Africa, beauty can be very deceptive. So we've got this very, very beautiful flower. It's called a large devil thorn, and this is the seed. I don't know if you guys can see those big spiked thorns in there. Now what this seed is designed to do is actually fit between an animal's hooves, and it can actually be very painful. And sometimes when you see a wildebeest or an impala sort of limping around in the bush, it could possibly be a large devil thorn stuck between their hooves. And this is how this plant disperses its seeds, so it can spread it over a wider area. It has quite a few traditional uses. One of the quite interesting thing about it is if you take the leaves and we pick them like this, and we just put a dollop of water on them, like that, and you squish them together, it becomes, let me just get a bit more going so you can see it. I don't know if you can see that, it becomes almost like snot. And it's actually a natural soap, and traditional African midwives in this area, the Shangaan culture, also use this as a lubricant for difficult childbirths. So it's amazing. Even if there aren't any animals around, there's always a lot to see. Okay, let's carry on. So hopefully I didn't put the devil thorn on my chair. Specific conservation of any animals. Sorry, Hal in Sodak would like to know whether I'm involved in any specific conservation of any animals. Hal, to answer you, I think living out here, you all have to be involved in conservation of all animals. I've been quite involved in different conservation projects over the year, and I do volunteer some of my free time to different conservation projects. Particularly, I've done quite a lot of work for one that is involved in predator research, specifically lions, genetics in lions, and wild dogs, hyenas, and cheetah. But also, I have been involved in anti-poaching in the past before. But I think one of the best ways that I'm able to help in conservation is actually to raise awareness about certain issues and how we can deal with them. Well, there's absolutely nothing around quarantine at the moment, so we're going to keep on trucking on, so to speak, and see what else we can find. Morning, Joellen. Joellen would like to know whether there are any animals in Botswana that you would have seen that do not occur in the Sabi Sand. And to answer Joellen, yes, there are quite a few. Things like roan antelope. Although sable antelope can possibly occur here, it's not ideal habitat for them. But you do see those more often in Botswana. And from your smaller carnivores, there's a few mongoose species like Salu mongoose and that do occur there and not here. But vice versa, you get things like kreisbok, Sharp's kreisbok in this area, which you wouldn't get in Botswana. So each area will have their own unique species on top of the general species that you see a lot throughout Africa. So we're just going to check the northern section of quarantine quickly. See, since we got up this morning, whether anything has come out and walked across the road. It's a nice big road, so nice and easy to see tracks. Morning, Virginia in Kentucky. Virginia would like to know how many litters do a wild dog have in a year, and how many pups are in that litter. Well, wild dogs generally only have 1 litter a year, but there have been recorded cases where they do have 2 litters a year. But wild dogs can have up to about 20 pups in a litter, but they have a very, very high mortality rate with disease and other predators. So you generally find only about 10 to 15% of the litter will survive to adulthood. Do you think that we can get to the hyena then on this mast?
I think so.
Yeah.
Try.
Straight, huh?
Yeah.
Okay guys, so there's very little happening out on quarantine and down at Gowrie Dam. So what we're going to do is we're going to go have a check-in with the hyenas and see if there's any action there. In the morning, it's quite interesting to go to the hyena den, because if you do get adults returning from their nightly foraging and hunting, you get interesting greeting ceremonies going on between the animals. Oh, speaking of hyenas, they walked down here last night. So you broke up, can you go again with the question? Morning, Susan, from Tennessee. Susan would like to know about my most hair-raising encounter with an animal. It actually happened last year. It was a very strange situation. I was working in the Gabonese rainforest, and Gabon is a very small African country between Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, and Congo Brazzaville. And oil is their main business, so there's a lot of oil company helicopters that fly over constantly, and they're very, very large helicopters, and they tend to freak the elephants out a bit. And we were walking through the forest because there's no roads there, you can only walk, and a helicopter passed over us, and in the forest obviously you can only see sort of 5 to 10 meters, and an elephant came out charging. We shouted at her, she kept coming. We had some volunteers with us. We managed to get the volunteers behind a tree. By that stage the elephant was sort of 3 meters from me, and it hit me with my trunk. I was very, very lucky because the elephant kept coming, and I threw my fishing rod at it and it got a fright. So that's and then she moved off. So that's possibly my most, that's not possibly, that is definitely my most hair-raising encounter with an animal. And again, there, it wasn't the animal's fault. It was the situation with helicopters and whatnot, and it just got a bit scared. I think the elephant was more scared than I was. Yeah, I know. It was. Did
you fly back?
Yeah, I flew about 10 meters or so. And also we had very heavy backpacks, so when she came again, I couldn't get up or roll away. So ground with my fishing rod in its case, poking the elephant in the face. It's not something I'd like to repeat. Well, good sign. There's a lot of tracks heading down towards the hyena den along the road. So hopefully the moms have returned from their nightly break. Sorry guys, we lost signal as we went through the drainage line, which drops us below sort of the area of our repeaters. I guess, as I got told. I think it's this way. Going. I'm not sure whether I'm on the correct road for the unit. Do you recognize it? Hi guys, we lost signal as we went through that drainage line there, and lucky for you, or lucky for me actually, you didn't get to see me wander around slightly lost, because like most men, I didn't listen to Tara's directions very well. Old habit from having guests. Well, good morning, Siberia. I have had encounters with gorillas. I was very lucky. In where I was working in Gabon, that we had about probably 15 family groups of gorillas in the western lowland gorillas in the area where we were working. I'll get back to you on my bucket list. I just want to do a quick loop around the hyena den to see if anyone's awake. Copy, thanks. So guys, we're at the hyena den, and as I said, it's quite a cold and windy morning. So that's why we left it a bit later to come check. As you can see, there's no activity. There's no adults around, so your younger cubs are not gonna come out. But what we can do is we'll carry on, and we'll come back and check later in the morning. Hopefully it's a bit warmer. All the adults have returned from hunting and foraging. But back to your question, Siberia. The second part of your question was, do I have a bucket list of animals that I haven't seen? And the answer is a very big and emphatic yes. In Africa, I still really need to get up to Ethiopia and into Chad and some of the western desert countries and the high mountain countries. Things like Ethiopian wolf or simian fox is very high on my bucket list. Walla ibex in Ethiopia, addax and ibex in the deserts of Morocco and Chad. Addax and ibex in the deserts of Morocco and Chad. And then outside of Africa, obviously, India, tigers, and South America, jaguars, sloths, and lots of monkey species. So I don't know if I'll have enough time to go see them all, but I'll definitely try. Copy, thanks. Okay guys, we just got a report that this elephant has made their way towards Gowrie Dam, so we're going to shoot down there quickly. So guys, so far quite quiet, so I'm quite excited that there's actually a report of a living, breathing animal, so I don't have to start picking more flowers to try and impress you. So just a warning to everyone, we're going to go back down through a dip again, so we might lose your signal. Good morning, Genevieve from New York. Genevieve would like to know, when it's windy like this, is it a help or a hindrance for animals to catch each other's scent? Well, it completely depends on who you are. It's quite difficult for animals to catch scent in this gusting wind because it's not all the same. It's not a steady wind. So you've got big gusts and the direction isn't one directional. It's often coming and changing direction. So if you're an impala or a wildebeest, it is very stressful for you because you might smell a leopard from this side and then the smell goes and you're not sure where it's coming from. But if you're a leopard or a lion, it's very beneficial because as long as you can see the animals, it makes them far easier to catch because they find it much more difficult to predict or see which direction or find out which direction that the predator is coming from. Guys, we're going to be approaching to where the ellies were seen just now. Oops. Whoopsie, missed the turn. Didn't we?
I think it's still a bit further down.
What is this? So that's the dead end. So sometimes out here, the signal could be disrupted by very strange things. And if I'm going to stop for a second, and Andrew can just have a look at the mast that's sending you the signal, and you'll see it's completely inhabited by red-billed buffalo weavers. So the communal nesting bird has made the mast its home. So if the signal breaks up, you can't blame us, and you're just going to have to blame the wildlife. Well, thanks everyone for your support so far. Hopefully I can find you some animals shortly. There we go. Morning, Joss. We'll get back to your question shortly. We've just got some nice Ellie boys here having quite a nice little argument. So more play fighting than serious fighting. So we'll just concentrate on the Ellies for a second. Okay guys, you can see in this wind the elephants are not as relaxed as they normally would be. So we'll never push an Ellie too far. There are some other ones behind us as well, and I'm keeping an eye on them. But as you can see, especially in this wind, they're not very relaxed. Especially we're downwind of them, so they can see us, but they can't hear us or smell us, which sometimes with the elephant can be a little bit of a problem. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to sit tight for a second and let them relax. And then we'll try again to go a bit closer, but maybe try to get upwind of them, so to let them know we're there, and so we don't freak them out or give them a fright. I did see some more in the drainage line, but let's go have a look. Sorry, Joss, about your question. Joss wanted to know if I've seen a geranic. And to answer that question, I have, on the Masai steppe in northern Tanzania. So Joss, so yes, I have seen geranic on the Masai steppe, which is a very arid area of northern Tanzania.
I haven't even heard of it. What is that?
A geranic, unfortunately, we thought it might rain, so I didn't bring my books with this morning. A geranic is related to the gazelles. It has got really, really long neck. So it almost looks like, you could describe it in layman's terms as sort of a giraffe antelope. And they on their back legs as well, even with their long neck, to reach the trees that they feed off, because they live in an as the dry season progresses. Oops, I'm still in low range. That's right. This road goes. So what I'm looking at the map to see where this road goes, so we can plan the best way to possibly try these again but without disturbing. Oh, there they are. And we're going to stop here because they're still fighting, and we're far enough away, and we're not driving towards them, putting any unward pressure on them. So these guys are sort of young boys, probably close to about 20 years old now. And this is sort of play fighting at the moment, but this will become very important as they become older in terms of who is actually dominant. At about this age, they get pushed out of the breeding herds. So I'm just going to move again. By the mothers, because they're so full of testosterone and whatnot, they can cause quite a lot of problems when they're small calves, because they're always running around, pushing each other, trumpeting, misbehaving. So at this sort of age, they start spending a lot more time either in little bachelor groups, like, or actually on their own. There we go. Guys, you might hear me snap a few pictures in the background while they're fighting. It's always quite nice to get a few shots of those boys. And of course, as soon as I take out my camera, they decide to stop. So you can see now that even while they're fighting, compared to their initial behavior when they saw us, where they were a bit nervous and started moving away, they've got used to us. We're keeping a respectful distance. I mean, at times it's perfectly fine to go very close to elephants, but in this wind, and especially with two young boys who are very excited, it's a bit more challenging. So we can come past. Morning. There's two Global bulls here, young guys fighting.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hi, sorry, Brent.
Sure,
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Morning, morning.
Over there.
Yeah, they're just moving this way, just
Okay.
boxing each other. Well, there you go, a bit of a bump in the road here. Hopefully those two boys haven't moved off too far. So, oh, there they are. I'm just going to go off the road a little bit here. So you always put the car into low range when we go off the road, because you never know when you might hit a hole and lose our cameraman.
Don't want that.
Let's have a look. No, they're still moving. They're just chasing each other around. Morning, Colleen from Winnipeg. It does. It can indicate a high level of stress or annoyance. And in this case, obviously, he was losing. So that's probably why he was looking so annoyed. So what I'm going to do is, because they're moving quite quickly while they're fighting, is that I'm going to try to jump ahead a couple of 100 meters and let them move towards us, rather than us doing what we're doing at the moment, which is just getting stuck behind them the whole time and losing them behind bushes. So I am going to go a little bit faster for a little bit. I apologize to anyone who feels slightly seasick, but it is to get us into position to have a better sighting. Oh, it looks like they beat us across the road. There we go. So see, we've caught up with the rest of the herd. There's a baby across the road in front of that other game drive vehicle. So with these two young boys like this, they've been hanging on the peripheries, because if they get too close, the adult females in the herd will give them a hiding, especially if they're behaving like they were earlier, running around chasing each other. Basically, they can cause quite big disruptions within the herd, especially when they're young calves. As you can see, as they've come closer to the adult females, they've stopped behaving so badly and they've calmed down a little bit. What we're going to try to do now is see if we can get a view of the rest of the herd. They are in quite a thick area up ahead. I'm just seeing sort of ears and tails through the bush. There could be a few more coming. One of the important things when viewing elephants is rather let the elephants come to you than you put yourself in their space. Can you see any more coming through the bush there? Famil, come for. Okay, so it looks like they've crossed the road already. So we're gonna head back down. Just saw one youngster of about 12 or 13 just briefly cross the road in front of us. Good morning, Martin. Martin would like to know if I have ever seen an okapi. I wish I had. They occur in a very, very just rare area between the Cross River and the Congo River in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is not a very stable country. Also, it is very difficult to get into the area where the okapis live. And as far as I know, there are very, very few people who have ever seen them in the wild. But it is definitely on my bucket list. Okay. It's amazing. You'd think such a big animal like an elephant would be very easy to see, but they are very good at disappearing. Shit. Crossing. Oh, sorry, just stand by. I've got. Just confirm whereabouts those Mashoa have crossed into Vuyatela. Sorry guys, I'll be with you in a second. I got the other vehicles talking to me at the moment. Coming in onto Zebra Drive, I think I said from Triple M. Hi guys, sorry we lost you there. We are busy racing towards the western boundary at the moment, so northwestern boundary. It seems to be I have all the luck today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that a pack of wild dogs was spotted crossing into Djuma. So we are going a little bit quickly just to get into that area. But please keep coming with your questions as we're moving into the area. So Andrew, with the dogs, just, I mean, they were seen over there, and they can do 60 kilometers an hour for up to about 5 kilometers. So they can literally appear anywhere if they're chasing animals.
We've got to keep up, eh?
Yeah. And I mean, literally, just so keep an eye. We're getting quite close to the area where they saw them, I think. So I mean, just keep a lookout all around us. They can pop up at any time. When you see relaxed in Impala, good morning, Dara from Ohio. Dara would like to know, are wild dogs endangered, and what is the primary cause for this? They are the second most endangered canid in Africa, so a canid being part of the dog family. There are only about 4,500 left in the wild. There are a couple of reasons for this. They are very susceptible to canine distemper and rabies, so if they come into contact with domestic dogs, disease is transferred quite easily. The other, probably more main reason, is that they need a very large home range as a pack to survive. I mean, home ranges in certain areas can range up to around 200,000 acres. And obviously with the advent of people and fences and farms and livestock, it's very, very difficult for them to have pieces of wilderness area that are that size, that enable them to it's very okay, so guys, they've found those wild dogs. I'm just behind them now. I'm gonna hopefully be there shortly. Sorry, back to your question. The reason that they need such a large home range is because they are such successful hunters. So if they had to stay in a very small area with a hunting success rate of around 80%, they would wipe out their prey species in that area. Pandemonium on the radio, sorry guys. Sorry, stations confirmed where is my Dutch located. I confirm I've got your visual. Here are the wild dogs, my favorite animals. I'm feeling incredibly lucky today. Okay, so if you guys can have a look ahead of us. I know. So I'm feeling very, very lucky and excited today to have wild dogs on my first drive out here. As you all know by now, it's my favorite animal. The painted wolf. The Latin name for them is actually a direct translation to painted wolf. Licon, which is the Latin word for wolf, and pictus, the painted on. They have the most fantastic colouring. And as Tara was talking to you about following signals on the giraffe yesterday with the white ears, have a look there. The very white tails are very important following signals, especially for dogs, because they do get split up while they're hunting very often. They are capable of incredible feats of speed and stamina. they are quite difficult to stay with, especially when they go off the road. And they are actually heading towards where we passed some impala earlier. So guys, if you do see me drive over a tree, we don't drive over any sort of protected species and things like that. We try, and a lot of these trees are encroaching on the burnt areas, but we always straddle them as well. So what that means is we will drive over it with the middle of the vehicle, and that enables the tree to be able to pop up afterwards, like this. You guys see them? They're still ahead of us there. Try the front. Watch the aerial. Oops, the daisies. Go, guys. Okay guys, we're going to try our best to keep up with them, but it is very difficult in this terrain. Morning, Marco from New Jersey. Marco would like to know how much range can a wild dog cover in terms of distance. Wild dogs can travel probably up to 20 kilometers if they want to in a day. They generally don't, but over a period of months or weeks, they can travel that whole in about a month they can travel almost that whole 200,000 acre home range. They don't do it often, but they can. And sorry, I'm just trying to keep my eye on the one as the grass is getting long. Okay, we've still got one in front of us. And you'll see if they disappear, there should be impala. They're coming out to a nice open area where we did see some impala. So we might be in some luck. And you'll notice I won't switch off my car while we're with wild dogs, because they can literally go from 0 to 60 in no time, especially while they're moving like this. There's obviously a road there that I didn't know about.
Wow, these animals are moving.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, probably one of the most challenging things with wild dogs is actually keeping up with them while they move through the bush. And you'll quite notice like that one, oh, there they are up ahead. They're getting a bit further and look like they're speeding up as well. Okay. Let's try to get to the road. Watch out for the spider webs there. There's going to be a bit of a bump. We're going to go over a log here. Go. Tara coming. I just want to check the Tara that Gowrie Main, this is our boundary, we are allowed to drive it. you, thanks. So they're gonna go start going now. Well, thank goodness they look like they're going left. So you can see them playing up ahead in the vehicle, running around. As I said, they've got a very, very intricate social structure. So there's a lot of ceremonial greeting and chittering, and it's very important in terms of establishing the connections and the family bond between the other dogs. And that's what makes them can make them a very successful species, is establishing that family, that close family bond. Bloody things. Now, quite interesting, battaliers and hooded vultures will actually follow wild dogs because they are so successful at hunting. They know they're going to get some meat at the end of it. Yellow-billed kites in this area do as well, and I'm pretty sure I saw one following the dogs now. I think also probably one of the other reasons I like them so much is they're hyperactive like me. So I don't know, you guys, who can see how many dogs are in this pack? I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's quite a nice sized pack. You can see there's some slightly smaller individuals, and that would have been this last year's babies. So they only breed once a year, and generally in about May, in May they'll start looking for the den. Oh, bugger. In May they'll start looking for their den site, and she'll generally have her pups in June, and then that is the only time where they're actually solidly in one area for an extended period of time. So you guys are going to hear my camera snapping away behind. Look, there's going to be, you're going to see there how the ears went flat, part of the greeting ceremony. You can see very important touching the faces, reaffirming the social bonds between the pack members. Oh, look at them. Get some of that. Look at the greeting going on there in the background. Oh, sorry, there's a vehicle in the way. Let me just go forward and we can shoot down the road. Sorry. Murphy's Law. Let's go back. There we go. Actually, that's a bigger pack. You see there's more adults that have joined from the bush on the other side. So it's probably looking about 14 or 15 individuals in this pack. But I'm very, very happy anytime I see wild dogs. So Kruger used to have, the greater Kruger area used to have one of the largest breeding populations of wild dog till the early 90s. And what happened is there was a crash due to canine distemper brought in by domestic dogs from the villages on the edge of Kruger. So about 5 or 6 years ago, they were actually down to just about 100 animals in the Greater Kruger. But as far as I know now, from my very good friend who works for the Endangered Wildlife Trust and the Wild Dog Project, their numbers are closing back up to 200. So they've made a very good recovery in this area. So even though it's windy and overcast, we get to see the second most endangered canid in Africa. Good morning, Theodora. Theodora would like to know whether a painted dog is the same as a wild dog. And your answer to that, Theodora, is yes, they are the same. There's a few different names for them. There's African wild dog, African painted dog, and the original name from colonial times was actually the Cape hunting dog. So a pack of wild dogs this size will probably have to kill twice a day. Generally, and wild dogs are quite an interesting word in their behavior. They are crepuscular. Can anyone out there tell me what crepuscular means? Oh, sorry guys. So if you'd like to answer what crepuscular means, hashtag Safari Live or email at questions@wildearth.tv. So you see they're having a little rest now, which probably means they've been on the move since probably around 5 a.m. this morning. It doesn't look like they've been successful. Let me just have a closer look at their faces with my camera. Generally, if the wild dogs had been successful, we'd see remnant of blood and whatnot around their mouths. So it doesn't look like they've been successful. So there's a possibility, because it's cool today, that they might continue hunting. We're going to hope they're going to come back towards us. So unfortunately, if they carry on down that road, we're not going to be able to follow them. But generally, when it comes to where they move, the alpha pair have quite a lot of say about where they go. But the whole pack will scent mark, not just the alpha pair. So that one dog who was coming running back up the road was coming to smell a scent mark. And if you spend time with wild dogs, it's actually quite easy to work out who the alpha pair is. And generally, not always, the alpha pair will lead the hunts, but there are some cases where the alpha pair doesn't hunt. Oh, let's get one last picture before they disappear. And they're going to play as well now. Sorry, just stand by one. The game drive vehicle's talking a lot. I can't hear you. You getting that? You go forward.
Just out of shot.
Okay. See, there's that important playing I was talking about. See them touching, jumping. Such fascinating animals. Okay, Brian, go ahead. Well done, Susan, Georgie, Michelle, Valerie, Shannon and Trent for getting the answer right. So crepuscular means animals that are most active at dusk and dawn. Oh, unfortunately they've gone off our Travis area, but we're incredibly lucky to have seen them this morning. Oh, I'm just hearing in that you guys are probably much smarter than me, because everyone seems to be getting it right. Well done, everyone. Unfortunately, I think there's a few too many names for us to mention. Okay, so now having followed the wild dogs, I have absolutely no idea where I am, so I'm going to have to consult my map quickly. And okay, we were on Zebra Road. Take it. So we were around there. So I'm guessing, I might be incorrect, we are either on... Yes, I'm just trying to say, are we at Junction Weaver's Nest or Shibamu? The entrance to Little Gowrie is on the other side of the road. Shabam Road. Okay. Thanks very much, Tara. We are on Shabam Road and we're going to be making our way back into Djuma. We're right on the boundary now. Talking into the radio for no reason apparently. Oh, that's good. Okay, guys, now that we've sort of got past the pandemonium of trying to keep up with the wild dogs, please send any questions you have about the wild dogs or any other questions you'd like to have answered. What we can do is try slowly make our way towards where those elephants were. Maybe we can get them in a more open area. Good morning, Janet from Baltimore. Janet would like to know whether wild dogs have a particular breeding season or whether they breed all year round. To answer that question, Janet, they do generally have a particular breeding season. So they will start looking for a den site and generally about in May. But generally the pups will be born sort of in June. And they use a very similar den to what the hyenas use. They will actually sometimes even use a den that a hyena might have used in the past. And then they are basically in that area for the next 3 months. And like hyenas, they'll have multiple den sites in that core range. One of the main reasons for this is to deal with parasites. Because if they stay in one den for too long, the fleas become a real big problem. So generally they'll move, depending on how bad the fleas are, every couple of weeks or months. And once the wild dogs the babies get to about 4 months old, they're already running with the adults. And then from then on, they are completely open to their home range and they can pop up anywhere. There has been records of wild dogs breeding twice in a year, but that is very, very unusual and definitely not the norm. So guys, remember, on Twitter, your questions at #SafariLive or email at questions@safarilive.tv.
Questions at WildEarth.
Sorry, questions@WildEarth.tv. Sorry, questions@WildEarth.tv. Good morning, Michelle from Missouri. Michelle would like to know why wild dogs were never domesticated. Michelle, they split from domestic dogs in terms of their genetics and from their original ancestors quite a long time ago. I can't remember exactly, but it is over a couple of million years ago. The reason that they were not domesticated is probably because of their huge home ranges and the fact that they move so quickly. With domestic dogs, they are more like jackals, as I said earlier. So they are not canis, so they're not actually that closely related to the domestic dog. Whereas a jackal, or a coyote, or a wolf is. And I would probably guess one of the main reasons they weren't domesticated, but as I said, this is theory, not fact, is the fact that they do not scavenge. So they do not eat rotten meat and things like that. They only eat fresh meat that has been killed. It's very rare that they will scavenge, and if they do scavenge, it is fresh meat. So I would probably think the reason and how domestic dogs became domesticated, as far as my understanding is because they started scavenging from humans. Because we're very messy and we leave lots of rubbish and bones and whatnot. So basically, the ancestor of domestic dogs would have started finding this as an easy way to source food. And slowly, after becoming used to people, people would have started domesticating them after they'd sort of started scavenging from hominids. Oopsie, there's a big bump. It's always fun to be exploring a new area that you don't know that well. Morning, Lee from Arkansas. Lee would like to know whether wild dogs are the same as dingoes. No, Lee. As I said, so dingoes would be a canis as well, so they're more closely related to domestic dogs. Oh, there's a hippo. Whereas wild dogs are their own family. There's actually nothing that is very out of the canid family that is that closely related to wild dogs. And it looks like we found a lonely hippo. Okay. Now we've got a male hippo in Treehouse Dam. I can't see his face yet, but there's two possible reasons why he's by himself. Either is he's young and he's not strong enough to fight with other hippos in the dams where the females are, or he's old and for the same reason would have been pushed out of the dams where the females are. And there's an Egyptian goose sidling past him. Up and under he goes. Okay, well, let's keep moving. Poor hippo, I think, wants his peace and quiet. Doesn't want to look at us. Good morning, Kathy from Tennessee. Kathy would like to know, what animals are wild dog afraid of? To answer your question, Kathy, most of your larger predators, lions are probably the biggest threat to wild dogs, especially to the youngsters as well. Like with most other predators, lions being the biggest and the most dominant are always the biggest threat. Wild dogs, depending on their numbers, are not afraid of leopards. I've seen them chase leopards up trees many times. And once I was very lucky and I saw a pack of wild dogs actually kill a female leopard in Botswana. Hyenas and wild dogs have quite an interesting relationship. Hyenas scavenge a lot from wild dogs, like I was saying about certain bird species that follow them because they're such successful hunters. Wild dogs will not tolerate anything close to their dens, but while they're hunting, they will fight with hyenas and they'll bite them, but it's not really ever serious. They sort of have I think the wild dogs get very irritated because the hyenas are always trying to steal their food, but they wouldn't say they're scared of them. I'd say that they're definitely very scared of lions. And actually quite interesting with people, there's never been a recorded case of a wild dog attack on a human being. And they're very curious animals and very easily approachable on foot. If you lie down in the road, they'll quite often come right up to you to come have a look what you are. But the one animal, actually I forgot completely, that wild dogs are terrified of, and if you ever see them drinking or going near water, they are incredibly jumpy and nervous around water. They are very, very scared of crocodiles. Oh. Morning, Scott from Ohio. Scott would like to know, do wild dogs have run-ins with the other predators like lions and hyenas? And would the lions and hyenas hunt them for food, or... so yes, they do. I mean, everything out here has runs in with each other from time to time. It would be, as I said, with the hyenas and wild dogs have quite an interesting relationship. With the hyenas, I've never seen them try actively kill a wild dog, but what they do is they sort of follow the wild dogs around to scavenge from them. Whereas with lions, they would definitely kill a wild dog, and they do kill a lot of wild dogs. It's one of the biggest natural killers of wild dogs. But I've never seen a lion try eat on a wild dog carcass. In terms of competition, so like with lions, when they find the predators, they will kill them. Saying that, if the lion is in poor condition and needs nutrients, it will probably eat anything, even a wild dog or a hyena for that matter. Where we saw those elephants earlier was up in that direction, so I'm hoping they might have moved down this way. So we're just checking the tracks to see if anything's lost, and if we have no luck with that, we can try the hyena den again, but I've got a feeling in this wind that it might still be inactive, but you never know. Morning, Harry from Colorado. Harry would like to know what happens when two different wild dog packs meet each other in the wild. Firstly, I would say it doesn't happen very often because of the size of their home ranges. It's quite unusual. But there's never been any recorded fighting between them. What does happen sometimes is you have males and females that might migrate to the different pack. And then the way new wild dog packs is formed, generally you'll have you will have generally 2 or 3 species of the same sex that will migrate and try find another 2 or 3 species of the same sex. So 3 males will leave from one pack and 3 females will leave from another pack. Just give me a second here, guys. Let's see if there's a track up on the side. Andrew, can you see if there's any elephant tracks here, or is that possibly a predator drag? Okay, sorry guys, I'm just going to jump off the vehicle for 2 seconds, so I'm not going to hear any questions. I just want to double check. It looks like there's possibly a drag mark in the road that could be from a leopard or something catching something and dragging it off. Eddie. See there? You've got just the faint imprint of an elephant track there. So he's just a trunk or even toe, dragging his toe down the road. No, it's Eddie. See there? You've got just the faint imprint of an elephant track there. So he's just a trunk or even toe, dragging his toe down the road. Hey guys, I'm back. Unfortunately, false alarm. It was not a predator drag mark, just where an elephant's been dragging his feet and trunk down the road. And there's a flashing light under your foot. So there are three large, sort of what you would deem as viable breeding populations of wild dogs left in the world. There were four, or Kruger was considered a fourth, but it's getting back there. It hasn't reached that stage yet. So that's the northern Botswana complex, which is sort of Chobe, Maremi, the whole Okavango, the Kafue complex in Zambia, which is the Kafue National Park mostly, and the surrounding game management areas. And then the largest is the Selous Game Reserve in southern Tanzania. So those are your three main viable breeding populations left in Africa. So it doesn't look like these eddies have come out of the block. Oh. So if we have a look at this tree over here, let's get Brian to focus in on these sort of big nodules. This tree is called a terminalia, or a silver cluster leaf, and those round things, if you look closely there, you can see there's quite a lot of little holes in them, and these are caused by enables the ant to lay its egg inside a hard encasement of wood, and so it gives its baby a very good start in life in a hard protective case. There's also species of wasps that do that as well. Where are we going? Where we go next. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa would like to know if I've ever petted a wild dog, and is there fur. Well, Lisa, I have actually petted a wild dog, but not in what your conventional sense of petting. When I was working on predator research in Botswana, we darted a lot of wild dogs to find out about their genetics, to see how healthy the population was, and also to check for disease. And when petting a wild dog, one should use latex gloves, because they are very, very smelly and full of parasites. And their hair is actually... On predator research in Botswana, we darted a lot of wild dogs to find out about their genetics, to see how healthy the population was, and also to check for disease. And when petting a wild dog, one should use latex gloves, because they are very, very smelly and full of parasites. And their hair is actually quite coarse. It's not soft as you would think it is. It's quite coarse. They don't get puppy pampering every day. Puppy, thanks very much, Ty. Okay, so what we'll do, it's definitely a bit warmer. As you can see, I've taken off my big jacket and I'm down to just a little jersey, but I am a big softie when it comes to the cold. But we're very close to the hyena den, so now that it's a bit warmer, we'll just go have a quick squiz there and see if anyone's at home. Morning, Carol from New York. Carol would like to know, because the wild dog is so fast when out in the bush, is when they are denning, are they the most vulnerable when they are denning? And Carol, you are very correct. That is when wild dogs are most vulnerable, at the den. And also because they show incredible courage, will even try to chase lions away from their den, whereas if they met them out in the bush, they would run away from the lions and avoid all conflict. And still no one at home at the hyena den, so I think we will continue on, hoping we find gonna try for those ellies again, see if they've come a different side out of the block they were in. Maybe we can do some more flowers. What would you guys like to look for next? Please email us at questions@safarilive.tv, WildEarth.tv, sorry guys, gotta get used to that one, or hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. Thanks, Andrew. Exactly right. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out So guys, we're about to go through a dip, so you might lose us for a couple of seconds. Crossed over Quarantine West and we're heading, Quarantine, West, and we're heading sort of west-ish mostly through that thickish block. Yeah, guys, thanks for your tweets on what you want to see. Ellies, we're going to try for. That's what we're going to do right now. A leopard. If I can find some tracks, I will definitely try my best to find you a leopard. Birds today, unfortunately, are a bit difficult due to the wind and the weather. But if we do see any interesting birds, I will definitely point them out. There we go. So guys out there, who can tell me how much vegetation an African elephant bull can eat in a day? So you can either email us at WildEarth.tv, questions at WildEarth.tv, or hashtag on Twitter Safari Live. Oh, there comes a really strong gust of wind now. Copy, thanks. I pushed in this out. Oh, all of a sudden we had a sort of gap in the wind there for a while, but it's just picked up again. Very quiet this morning. There's almost no general game out on the open areas. I mean, I don't think we've even seen an impala. I think we've seen one impala maybe, and that's why we're rushing to get to the wild dogs. Sorry, could you go again with the name there? Right, morning, Foggy Fawn from New York. Foggy would like to know what is the largest group of lions I've seen, and have I ever seen lion prides fighting? The largest group of lions I've seen was a pride that was in the Kruger National Park here. They were called the Mega Pride, or by some people we just used to call them Mountain Pride. At one stage they got up to 47 lions in that pride. They were huge. And lions fighting the different prides, yes, I've seen. Quite interestingly, I've seen 47 lions in that pride. They were huge. And lions fighting the different prides, yes, I've seen. Quite interestingly, I've seen males fight a lot more than females, but I've also seen females fight. So what will happen is you'll have a coalition of males that can sometimes be dominant over 2 or 3 different prides of lions. And so those males will basically be dominant over those lionesses, but the different lionesses will still fight amongst each other. So the females will have their own sort of territory and the core part of their territory, and then the males can actually have 3 different groups of females in their home range. Sorry, Game Drive's channel was going. I didn't copy it. Go ahead. Wow, Dara. 1 ton, that's a very big elephant. Marion, 200 to 400 pounds. It's a little bit light. Your average or your big adult elephant bull can generally eat between 200 and about 250 kilograms, depending on how hungry he is that day. So you guys are close, but between 200 and 250 kgs for an adult elephant bull. With the cows would be around 100 to 150 kgs. So you guys were close, just off by 1 whole me. So around 200 kgs. I think it'd be very seldom that an elephant would eat up to around 300 kgs, but it's possible because one thing we must always remember when we're in the bush is that we wrote the books, the animals didn't, so they don't have to listen to what we write in our guidebooks. Andrew spotted some kudu. See if we can.
Quite thick though.
Yeah, it is quite thick. Oh no, they just. Nah, guys, I think it's a bit too thick to have a good look at the kudu. And we're going to continue looking for the Ellies for now. Sorry, last station, what was that update? Okay, copy, thanks. Tara coming. I don't think it's on us, but Kaya Mozi Puza spot. Copy, thanks. Pagati Ngala. Okay, copy that. Okay, so guys, just a quick update from our east. The properties to the east to us. There's fornicating felines. There's mating lions being found out towards the boundary of the Kruger Park. Probably the Matimba males. I'm not sure which lioness and whatnot. Not 100% with all the animals in the area just yet. But just for those who are interested, mating lions to the east of us. Oh, the elephants are really playing hide and go seek with us today. Not a bird in the sky. See, the wind's picked up again and everything's gone a bit quiet. What I think we should try to do next is possibly head down to a more open area. You might find wildebeest, zebra, or giraffe or impala have moved into the open area now that it's a bit warmer and they've got a bit better visual around them to protect themselves from predators. Morning, Teresa from Virginia Beach. Teresa would like to know whether the wind can stress out animals like impala and stuff like that. I definitely think that it does, especially as you can see. If we get a shot on the grass here, you can see how gusty it is. So it's not always coming from the same direction. It's crossing all the time, and that can make your prey species or your herbivores quite nervous, because they might smell a gap of a leopard here or lion, and then it's gone, and then it's back, and it can stress them out quite a lot. So they're generally a lot more nervous, even if you try to drive up to them in a vehicle in this really strong wind. They tend to not hang around and are easily viewed. They'll try and move away because they're not sure. Because also the wind will affect their hearing because of all the noise and the leaves and that. So they might just catch snippets of noise from us, but then they're not exactly sure what we're doing. So I think yes, it does stress. Just hang on a second. It does stress your herbivores out. And hyena tracks down the road. Oh, no. Elephant-like termite mound. With the wind, with the branch going there, I thought it was an ear flapping. Morning, Natasha from Texas. Natasha would like to know whether there are any breeding programs for wild dogs in Africa, and would it be viable or possible? To answer Natasha's question, yes, there are. There's one at the De Wild Cheetah Center where they breed both cheetah and wild dogs. It is quite difficult to raise wild dogs in captivity though, because of their high social structure, and they need a lot of space. So if you keep them in captivity, they tend to get fat and can have different problems sort of with their health. But it is possible, and there are some places that do it. Let's see if we can see him. Where is he now? There's a little rattling testicular. Try it. And Murphy's Law.
Wait, I think
you got him?
I think I see a cicada.
A cicada?
Is that possible?
The Christmas people.
Look on the screen. It's a little...
Oh, it's a bagworm.
Bagworm.
Oh, there we go. So, you guys can see it. So, well spotted, Andrew. There's a bagworm there. Sorry, Brian, could you go again? I missed the middle bus. Morning, Linda from Central Texas. Linda would like to know what's the biggest difference between animals and weather, and I would also think the vegetation between Botswana and the Lowveld. Well, the biggest thing is Botswana is a lot more arid, so you generally have a lot less rain. You probably have about half the amount of rain that we get in the Lowveld, and the Lowveld is also quite an arid region. But Botswana has that northern Botswana, which is the sort of main game viewing area, has the Okavango Delta, which is the largest inland delta in the world that doesn't flow into the sea. So basically this huge amount of water comes down from Angola and gets into the Kalahari sands and then sort of just dissipates down into the sand and disappears. Whereas the Lowveld, the biggest thing is Botswana is so flat. There's not a hill or a hole or a drainage line. It's literally dead flat. Whereas here we've got lots of undulation. Most of the animals are quite similar. You will have certain species like roan antelope and gemsbok, springbok down further south in Botswana in the arid areas. So there's a few animal species that are different, but the majority will be the same. There's impala, wildebeest, zebra, giraffe, lion, leopard, wild dog, cheetah, hyena. Both the two species of hyena occur quite regularly in Botswana, but they also do in the Lowveld, just not in this area. I hope that answers your question, Linda. Spider webs. That's all over. Wasn't paying attention, got a nice orb web in my face. Oops. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can get a view of him. See hopping through there. Is that? You got a shot there, or should I go forward or back? So, guys, we got a Birchall's Kukul. Hopefully, he'll come out into the open a little bit. He should quite often will jump out into the open. So it's quite a nice bird. There's a skulker. So he basically hunts in the thick bushes. Got quite a powerful beak. Eats lots of insects, small rodents, lizards, geckos, occasionally small snakes. I don't know if you can see him so well. Let me go. Just see if I go. He's moving. Let's go back a bit. Maybe we should get a better view of him. No. I think he's gone right down into the bottom of that thicket there. Let's see. No, he's disappeared. Sorry about that, folks. We'll see if we can find something else. Oops. See? So on the left we've got quite a nice tree. It's called a weeping wattle, and the reason it's called a weeping wattle is because there's a species of spittlebug that feeds off the sap. So what a spittlebug is, it's a little froghopper beetle which will attach itself to the stem, and what it does is as it sucks the sap, as fast as it sucks the sap, it excretes almost 100% water. So during the dry season, there's a couple of species that they feed off, this being one of them, and it looks like it's been raining just under the tree, so, or weeping as it is. So that's how this tree got its name, from the spittlebugs. And if anyone from Australia is listening, it is not a true wattle, so not related to the wattles that you guys have at home. It just has a very similar leaf structure and look about it, is how it's got its name. Nice little redback shark. Don't fly away, please. Don't fly away. Don't do it. Okay, he's in this Brent out acacia here. Murphy's Law. Actually, let me go forward. He's still out in the open. You got him there. So you see that little group of combretums right at the base. Yeah. There we go. For the birders out there, there's a redback shrike. One of the migrants who spends the summer here. Difficult to say where he's exactly from, but he could be from in Europe somewhere, or even. But they migrate through for the summer to capitalize on the bounty of insects and other food that's around in our low-felt summers. Very, very pretty bird. So when you get used to identifying them, have a look for that. He's got quite an obvious grey cap with the black eye lines, but obviously the biggest giveaway is his redback. Anyone looking at him there, can you tell me why, what is the most distinctive shrike feature on him? And you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv or on Twitter at #SafariLive. Oh, it looks like he's seen something. No, false alarm. It was about to be a grasshopper or something dispatched, but see how he's constantly moving his head? So, morning Valerie. Valerie would like to know if I can mimic what a redback shrike sounds like. I'm afraid I am not able to mimic a redback shrike. Like most shrikes, they don't have a very pretty call. It's very much a sort of screeching. Okay, let us continue on. I'm hoping now that it's a bit warmer, that if we head out to quarantine, we might find some animals out on the open grasslands there that weren't there earlier this morning. So again, we're about to go through a dip, so there's a possibility we might lose you for a few seconds. So bear with us and I'll try to get through it as fast as possible. Again. So we've got one of the answers in about the shrike is Artiet from Arkansas. He says tail length. Unfortunately, that is not the correct answer, but it is a very good guess. RC in the Netherlands says that. Sorry, go again, Brian. With what mask? Zorro mask. No, but that was also quite a good guess. It is not the Zorro mask, but that is more in the right area. D. Hodgkins has got it correct. It's the bill. There's a very sharp little hook on the edge of the bill, which is particular to the shrike family with your smaller birds. So it is a raptor-shaped like bill, and they are ferocious little predators. Certain species of them will actually catch and hang whatever they catch on a thorn. And Valerie in California also got it right. Oh, look at that. In the road in front of us, hopefully... Oh, damn it. There was a little barn swallow just resting quickly, buddy. Might land again if we sit quietly for a second. No. Not worth a try, though. So, as I was saying, there's a species of shrike that will actually hang like lizards and things that it catches on big acacia thorns or on barbed wire fences. For a couple of reasons. It's got a storeroom of food, and also it also shows if from a mating point of view the females that he's a good hunter, and to attract a mate. Okay, we've got some wildebeest and I think a single zebra and some impala that have moved out onto the open area now that it's a bit warmer and the wind has died down a little bit. Hopefully it stays down. And we got another correct answer from the redback shrike question. Cadria also got it right. So you can see we've got 3 different species out on the open grassland here at quarantine. Now, quite interestingly, I've got a question for everyone, even though there is only one zebra. Apart from the sort of beneficiary of having more eyes to look out from predators, what is another reason why zebra and wildebeest quite often feed together? And please send your answers to #SafariLive or questions@wildtalk.tv. Finally, WildEarth.tv. I thought I got it right, finally. So close. So questions to WildEarth.tv. So you can see this is quite a nice safe area for them at the moment in the wind. Big open area. They've got long views, short grass, so it would be more difficult for a predator to sneak up with them. Oh, that zebra's having a good roll in the dust at the back there. You can just see his legs occasionally appearing above the grass. Let's see if we can get a bit closer while he's rolling. see if he keeps rolling now that we've come around to have a look at him. I think he should. There we go. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? So, quite unusual to see a single zebra by himself. Looks like a young stallion. So he's probably been pushed out of the harem by the dominant stallion. But he looks like he's probably getting to an age where he can start challenging for his own harem soon. As you can see, it's definitely a young stallion on 5 legs. So at this stage where he doesn't have his own group of females, he will definitely spend more time around other species of animals, just purely from protection. The more eyes there are, the more chances you've got of spotting the predator, and also the more you are, the less chance that you're going to be the one who gets eaten. We can hear some oxpeckers flying over. Tracy from Victoria, Australia, says that wildebeest and zebra are the same family. Unfortunately, Tracy, you're wrong there. A wildebeest is an antelope species. It's a bovididae, where there's a zebra is part of the horse and donkey family, so an equus. So they're not related. Sorry, who was the next name there? Brian? Sorry, Brian, could you go with the next answer, please? Mary says that they graze together, more eyes looking for predators. Mary, you are correct there, but that is not the only reason. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes. We've just had a report that there's some giraffe down at the dam. So what we'll do is I will give you guys till the dam before giving you the answer, unless someone gets it right first. Sorry, the name on that one again? Georgie. Georgie, you are correct. Georgie from Australia, you are very correct. So they are different type of grazers. So a zebra is a bulk grazer. So they eat pretty much everything, and they eat it down to a certain level. Whereas a wildebeest is a very specialist grazer and will actually nibble the different grass pieces in between. And Marlene also got that right. So that's well done, guys. That's not an easy question. So what you'll find back onto that game drive, back onto the grazing question, as you see, there's different animals that are bulk grazers. So buffalo, rhino, and zebra are your main bulk grazers, and they literally mow everything down. And then what that does is it creates short grass, which a lot of your other animals actually prefer. So things like impala, wildebeests, and your other grazing species actually need short grass and prefer short grass. So it's a very important sort of system to have your bulk grazers as well as your specialist grazers like wildebeest that will pick out what's in between. So we're coming down to the dam now and see, hopefully the giraffe have not, there they are, I haven't done a disappearing act before we got there.